Thank you so very much for being with us here on SABC News and giving us your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's for the first time in South Africa that, of course, a former president has been sent to jail. Some analysts have hailed this, saying that, South Africa's constitutional democracy is intact. What effect do you think that this has on South Africa's image, not just, generally here in the country, of course, but outside of the country too? And particularly, maybe we should focus on the continent, given that he does enjoy some respect from African leaders.
Indeed, I think the starting point is that this is a very unfortunate development. We shouldn't be here. Nonetheless, we are here because of the manner in which the situation with the former president, Jacob Zuma, his case has been going on for a while. Across the African continent, I think the message is being received quite positively. It's speaking volume in terms of the durability of South African democracy, more importantly, the institutions of governance, particularly the independence of judiciary. I think that majority of Africans are seeing that as a plus, something to emulate. Others are envy about that. But across the world, it's yet another demonstration of the strength of South Africa's democracy. Sympathy for the former president is also felt across the entire continent and the world. There are those who feel that this might cause trouble on the ground, given a situation that he has quite a huge support on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question I've posed for a number of years, and I wonder if you can entertain me. I've always wondered, is it perhaps for us to take a look at the fact that perhaps our liberators are not necessarily intended to be our leaders? And I asked that due to the question that I want to put to you in terms of, talking about the precedents that this then sets for liberation heroes in other countries.
Yeah, it is unknown, unheard of in most African countries that the head of state and government would be, or a former head of state who will be jailed. Yeah. So it's quite shocking for most countries that see themselves as South Africa is one of the African countries, but yet we're gaining much more advantage in terms of the strength of these institutions, that they have been tested. And one must say there is no one in the history of post-1994 who has tested South Africa's democracy, South African institution, more than the former President Jacob Zuma. Yeah. He has done it, and I think we can see the institutions are strong, and we need to keep it that way, that no one is above the law, and institutions are much more important than individual, regardless of the history that one has.
But it's also important to take a look at, what Zuma supporters are saying, and certainly his legal team when it comes to the South African judiciary, and whether or not it's set a good example. Certainly, we may talk about the fact that nobody's above the law, but there is this argument that is being put forward about the issue of incarceration without a trial, and that seems to be something that those who are supporting the former president will continue to talk about it, and I think it is quite an important issue to factor in. And I wonder how you can weigh into that in terms of what it then says, about the judiciary.
It says a much more bigger story in terms of it is also getting into uncharted waters. It's for the very first time that he has been tested to this level. And I mean, it will definitely make mistakes, and no doubt about it. But what is important, and we need to be celebrating as much as people are criticizing our former president, Jacob Zuma, we also have to give it to him that the mere fact that he handed himself in, and there hasn't been, as far as I know, anyone killed because of his case. So far, it sends a very good message. His rights has to be protected, and one expects in the few days to come that his case will be heard and deliberated upon, and further judgments are made in terms of either to free him or reduce the sentence, or any other ruling that will come that will speak further to the strength of our democracy.
Dr. David Monyae, a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your analysis. We certainly do appreciate it here on SABC News.